Hola, muy buenos dias. Good morning. I hope you are well, staying positive and focused on what you can control. Welcome to Cafecito con HACE and happy Black History Month. We've got one more day, but of course, as we say with all the heritage months that we celebrate, this is something that we do every single day and year round, acknowledging the diversity of all cultures and making sure that we are including in everything that we do. And this year, we are celebrating advancing positive impact, ensuring that we are advancing careers, advancing employee equity, and advancing social impact. And so, to all of you joining in the chat, make sure you use this opportunity to network, to connect with one another. So, drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, introduce yourself, and connect. My name is Patricia Mota, and I serve as president and CEO of HACE, the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement, a national nonprofit whose mission since 1982 is to positively impact workplaces by cultivating the community of talent, providing the insight, access, and support to be successful in their careers. A few key announcements before we jump in with our special guest today. We are still accepting applications for our El Futuro High School program. This is specifically focused for students in Arizona. It's a free program, college readiness, career exploration, helping you with that next step and after you achieve your high school education. And so please look for that on the website. It'll also be dropped in the chat. If you know of any students or families in the area, please be sure to share that with them. They also receive a stipend, a stipend to be able to participate. Mujeres, we have our Latina Leadership Program also accepting applications. So if you're looking for the opportunity to connect with others, please do so. And then our LGBTQIA ASE Colores has an so you can find all that information on our site. And lastly, our National Leadership Summit is taking place on April 25th and 26th in Chicago. So you can find more information on that also. So I want to make sure you get to know who our special guest is today. And please join me in welcoming Henry Crespo Sr., who is the president and founder at Urgence Inc. Buenos dias, Henry. How are you today?
Buenos dias, Patricia. What's going on?
Glad to be with you. We're happy to have you, Henry, for various reasons. I know you have helped us with the special project with HACE, so we can talk a little bit more about that. But first thing is first, you're on Cafecito con HACE, so I'll ask you, but I'll also ask all our guests who are joining us today, how do you like your café or your morning beverage of choice prepared?
Bueno, I'm a colada guy. I do my colada. I don't get into too much coffee, menos a colada.
Can you tell for those that may not know colada?
Coladito, it's like an espresso, but it's everybody, the Hispanic community makes it. So you can go to Venezuelans, you can go to Nicaragua, Nicaraguans or whatever, but in Miami is Cuban. So in that sense, so you stop by un cafeteria, una colada with some water, and it'll take you all day long. I'm telling you, it's not motivated. You won't stop.
I love it. I love it. So there you go. There you have it. Go ask for a colada. If you haven't tried it yet, make sure to get your day going. Henry, tell us, we're getting to know about your work, the great work that you're doing. You got to work with us on a special project. And I know my colleague, Yasmin Mendoza-Sul, our Chief Operating Officer, Araceli Lagunas, who's our marketing comms, one of our managers there, got to work with your team on a special project. And it was just an inspiration and something that continues to inspire. But tell us, before we jump in, because I want everybody to stay tuned for that, tell us about your cultural, your professional background, how you got to what you're doing today.
Well, I'll tell you this. I know we got a short time here in that sense, but I'll tell you about Urgent Inc. in the sense of what inspired Urgent Inc., right? Which stands for Urban Renewal Greater Enhancement National Team. And really, it comes from, I was, my background is, my parents are Cuban. Both my parents were born in Cuba and came to the States. I was born here in the States, and obviously I'm black, but it's all love because we're Hispanic, we're black, we got everything together. So I claim all of it. You know what I'm saying? So,
Eso.
yeah, para que no haya soy hispano, soy americano, y soy in between all of that. So the organization really was inspired because Papi used to do, he asked me a question about how to give back. And I said, well, I got kids, blah, blah. He says, no, those are your responsibility. How you give back. And in that sense, Pops used to have a right in Overtown, right? Which is historical black communities. It's changing now, but it's where Bahamians got together to vote to incorporate the city of Miami. So it's a history. I would tell folks to look into that. But anyway, he used to do a little soup kitchen in ¿cómo se llama? En el Portal. And right there, people will come and ask for advice and that kind of stuff. So, from that perspective, after that, and I might run right into it. I got that from Papi. Entonces, Papi se falleció now. Good brother. I loved him to death. He had Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's, not Alzheimer's. ¿Cómo se llama? Lou Garrett. And I'll tell you, Lou Garrett is really, it's hard. But anyway, but he's in a better place now. But got a couple of guys together and we started talking about, how do we give back? How can we make an impact in a community overall? And looking at the challenges in Overtown in the community. So we decided to put together an organization called Urgent Inc., Urban Renewal Greater HACE National Team. And then from there, it just started growing. One of the first things that we did, and I say we because it's collectively, right? It wasn't I's, but right, it was a collective team. We went to WLRN and talked to them. And through their public access television program, we started 2 good programming shows, which was called Critical Issues and Urgent Mainline. Let me tell you, I got 8 tracks. I was gonna try to make some copies of it, but it's not the.
I don't know if everybody knows what 8-tracks is, but
tell them, Patricia. You know what the 8 tracks are, right?
Oh my god,
it's way back, right? Anyway. So that's what the first iteration of it, and doing a lot of that programming on public access. And we used to have anybody that was everybody coming on the show. No nada más le alcalde, los comisionados. I'm talking about regular Joe, Sam that used to do boiled fish and grits. Mr. Kent used to have the laundry shop. My man used to sell potatoes and everything on the corner. So we used to have a lot of people on the show. It was real cool at that time. Really enjoyed it. So that kind of, I want to keep going, but that's what kind of inspired it. And
well, what an inspiration. And then to have something that honors the legacy of your father, right? And that is just such a beautiful, beautiful way to start something. And we got to partner with you and with our partners at NBC, Comcast, Telemundo, to help us launch a commercial that a lot of folks have been reaching out to us. That Urgent Inc., we partnered with you all. So tell us about, it sounds like, at least from what we've seen, right? It envisions a future where all children and youth have the social, economical, educational resources and creative space to thrive. So can you tell us about the, you talked a little bit about the inspiration, but the work that you all are doing with youth?
Yeah, so to kind of continue in that space, right? The early years after doing the shows, there was a grant through the Empowerment Zone that was started, and that Empowerment Zone helped us to work with. The Empowerment Zone was like an all-girls program in like that juvenile space and helping young ladies transition, that kind of thing. So we did that. But the first grant, I don't know if I said that, was from the Women's Fund, ironically, right? In a sense of having you, woman, doing the show and your colleagues. But it started like with a, I don't know, $2,500 grant. And from there, that helped us in working with young girls. So it's focused on young women and sisters, you know what I mean, in that space. And then that opened up the door to go to Booker T. Washington High School. and was historically black school. It was the first black school, I think, in Overtown. It was a middle school. Now it's a high school. All the who's went there at that time. And they're still around, the elderly. They're very active. And then it was, I got to give a shout out to Mrs. Biggs, Miss Bugs. She was over the community school, and she moved to Georgia. Now I'm going to do some research. We got to find her, because that sister opened up the doors for the school to work with young girls and stuff like that. I just want to be real tight, because I want to give you the story. So I had to put some kind of stuff together here, right? And then moving to what you asked me, I hit on the empowerment zone, was the Children's Trust helped us as well with young people, but the Miami CRA launched they put a whole portfolio together to enhance their entertainment district. So that's where the organization was able to receive some funding from the CRA. And then from there, oh my God, these young adults, let me tell you something, Patricia. I mean, they were doing movie shorts, documentaries, movies que son like for 30 minutes, documentaries that were short. I mean, we have a prolific body of work, those young adults. And they were from, I mean, we had young adults coming in there at middle school all the way to high school. So everybody in that space was learning to hold a camera and to do the check and the beam and the whole thing. So that got us to where we are today, along with the other programmatic, components that we have in the organization.
Yeah, so talented individuals. I know that day when we were doing the video shoot with the students, was getting text messages from my colleagues there, and just such an inspiration. But then to see the final product in terms of the talent and the community that really helped rally so that this talent can thrive. Which brings me to my next question regarding that. And because I know we've got folks tuning in, they're going to want to learn more. So we'll make sure that we drop your information in the chat, that information on the organization, on Urgent Inc., and all the great work that's being done. And those of you tuning in, we do have a few minutes left, but if you have a question or two, drop them in the chat so that we can make sure that we share them with Henry here. But Henry, tell us about the power of community, right? I think that's some of the things that you've mentioned that I love that we instill at HACE. We're helping build leadership capacity, help build leaders. But part of that is not just advancing in your career, getting that leadership title, because everyone's a leader, but it's understanding the responsibility that we have to pay it forward, right? Give back, mentor, serve on nonprofits. And part of that is building community. And so the more individuals that are involved in community efforts, the greater the results, the ripple effect. And so what partnerships or collaborations have been instrumental in furthering your mission?
For me, I kind of sit in this space over here, but hope there's gonna definitely be a follow-up, because we have a CEO that really coordinates all that and really can touch where Urgent Inc. is, and all these tentacles of connectivity and support and organizations that we work with. But I'm not digressing, I'm just kind of going through the flow here. But working with HACE as it relates to this commercial that was created, and you saw in that creation the diversity of the community. You can see the kids, all background, the adults that were there, all backgrounds, women, men, everything in between. And it was just a sight to see. And we have, matter of fact, I think they're going to be working on the making of this commercial.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Yes, because you see
yeah,
just the treatment, the 1, 2, 3, roll, and then you see the whole movement and all the lights, and it's like a professional studio. You'll be surprised. And kids adapt so much. It's different than before, that we used to read more on books and blah blah blah.
Mm.
Everybody had an encyclopedia. Now the encyclopedia is this and the
Some people
thing.
may be asking what that is too now. They think about it.
What is right?
Yeah.
Britannica. I'm telling my age now, Patricia. Yo soy un poco viejito
Right.
ya, so imagínate, you know. Um, but yeah, I told my daughter about we used to have encyclopedia. She was like, "Pops, encyclopedia? Like really?" Yeah, really, sister. You
Like, ¿qué
know.
es eso? ¿Qué es eso? Yeah, I would love to see. I think that's amazing to hear. And I'm sure, if the team hasn't heard that already, we're super excited to be able to see that behind the scenes. And so I see
Yeah,
Bobby saying the blooper reel. That would be funny. I think what we should also share, because I know the commercial was dropped in a video online. So we'll make sure to drop the actual commercial here in the comment section so if everyone can get to see it.
yes,
If you haven't seen it yet, because I know we've been getting the phone calls and the messages in terms of the great work. But Henry, I know we're gonna have their CEO joining us and maybe in the next month. I'm looking forward to that.
yeah,
But you as part of, like I say, with the team, you're part of the fabric of the great work that's being done. And so we're super appreciative of the mission that you're leading, and really, which is aligned with ASA, is helping that generation of talent find their inspiration, find their purpose, and by providing the tools and the outlets for them to discover this creative space. And there's
absolutely.
such a need, right, for more people of color, more diversity in this space. I think is extremely powerful. So you should be super proud. We are at ASE for having you. I had a question from one of my colleagues, Stephen Hodges, that's asking about what's one of your proudest moments with Urgent Inc. And I'm sure that I'm sure this is probably a difficult one.
You know, I would say it's still in transition because
Mm.
you're proud one moment and then they surprise you and do something else. I mean, now they're doing a documentary on gun violence in the community and how to navigate through that
Mm.
with young people in the community over town. You also have a homeless population that have some tents. I mean, but it's changing over time. It's not like it was before. Okay, they got these buildings going up. Oh my God, they're walking dogs now. Okay, pero it still has a fabric of what it how we you have that mixture of blacks and everything else. But the point is that, and these young adults are going out there interviewing these folks that are in little tents and stuff. So my proudest moment is how they are able to evolve
Mm.
from one point to another, and just how they're able to move within this space within our communities to get information, put it together, and send it out. So that proudness is ongoing. I can't, if I'd say proud is when it was founded, pero
I knew that was gonna be hard for you. I could. I was like, oh, that's a great question, but I'm sure that's going to be a tough one because I
There's a
am
long
sure
way.
you're building proud moment after proud moment after proud moment.
Yeah,
It makes me very proud to partner with you all. We hope that we can continue to engage in various aspects, support, because that is just such amazing work. I know this is never enough time for this conversation, but I do have to ask one final question, Henry. And those of you joining in the chat, continue to ask questions, engage in the chat. This video will stay here. We'll share it, make sure that we're answering questions and sharing more information. But Henry, we're wrapping up February. We're getting ready to embark March, which is amazing. What are you most hopeful for this year?
continued growth,
Hmm.
continued growth, and for your folks out there, please go to urgentinc.org. We have a 30-year anniversary coming up in July. It's just a continuation of building what we're building. You follow me? And to go back to your thing real quick, is streaming on Peacock. This commercial is streaming on Comcast. I mean, it's streaming all over the place, and when you see that product, I would say that it gives me a sense of joy and feeling of not just accomplishment, but the expectation of so much more that these young adults can do with this film, this
Mhm.
commercial that they did. They traveled to New York, they got together, they got selected. It was a whole process. It wasn't like, they worked to get selected to do this piece. So it's nothing is it's not a handout. This is a it's a work ethic. ¿Tú me entiendes?
Yeah. Yeah.
That feel luchando para el futuro, and they're luchando because they're working in something that they love to do. I mean,
Mm.
they'll do a commercial on they'll do an interview on Deco Drive. I mean, we have these young sisters doing that. When I say sisters, just don't think black. It's a mixture of young
Mhm.
ladies and men, young adults that we have in the program. We started out from all black to some extent, Haitian, don't say you got Hispanics, you got
Yeah.
white American. It's a melting pot. You go when
Yeah.
urgently it's a melting pot in Overtown. So I'm proud that these kids, with all this stuff that's going around the world, that when it comes to do the business of what they're doing, they work together, they get in a room, they disagree, they come up with a template, they work it out, and boom, it's on to the races.
Life
Oh yeah,
skills, and just helping create something that will have a positive impact, not only on themselves, but others that get to enjoy it and experience it. That is so meaningful. Hector, thank you for your time. I do want to,
thank you,
I know
Hector.
we had one of our students that got to participate, Gabo, in as was featured in the commercial.
Yes,
Araceli on our team was featured in the commercial. So now they're famous. So check
yeah,
them out.
yeah.
Henry, mil gracias. Thank you for your
No, por
time
nada.
today and for all the great work that you're doing. You're an inspiration to us and to our community. To all of you tuning in, hasta la próxima. Until next time, take care.
Te quiero, un abrazo, chao.
Un abrazo. Chao, chao.